All right, hello everyone. I'm back once again with some Quest for Glory 2. I'm going to be showcasing this sequel game, but first, I just died on the title screen.
Oh, marathon's over, everybody. Sorry.
Oh, I can't believe I did that. That's a funny little bug, and I love showing it off. But so joining me for Quest for Glory 2 is Lemming, who ran Quest for Glory 5 earlier.
Hello. I hope you liked Wrong Warps. That may come back for this one.
Yeah. So this is not going to be a randomizer. This will be a normal playthrough of the game. I'm going to be doing 100% as a thief. But first things first, there's a quick period of time when I select a class where I'm able to bring up the parser and do some stuff, which I'm going to do to bring myself to a running state and then pre-type stand before the run begins. And then we've got our usual 50 points for the start of this run. The thief has a very interesting starting set of skills. So in order to lockpick every door, I'm going to need 65 pick locks. There's an anvil that I need to push that I require 60 strength for. There are a number of tricks that are going to require magic, which I'm going to stick 5 points into, and then the rest goes into agility to make tightrope walking easier. So, you ready to go, Lemming?
Yeah, literal tightrope walking, by the way, not figurative running. Tightrope walking. Yep, I'm good to go. Ready when you are.
All right, so let's go ahead and start in 3, 2, 1, go. I'm going to go ahead and turn detail down, get through this dialogue, and immediately go out into the streets of Shapir. If normally you start the game with money from Spielberg, and you have to go to the money changer in order to actually change your money for a Shapirian currency, but there's a well-known bug here where you can sell a beard that you don't have to this shopkeeper. Safety save here, just so I don't soft lock this. And so you can get a lot of starting money that way.
Yeah, this is an absolutely classic bug. Just sell beard.
Mm-hmm.
Try it in real life, too.
Yeah,
You know how it goes.
While I'm going around and buying all these things that I need to deal with the elementals, I'm going to point out that there are a lot of scripts here that are going to stop me from walking and then initiate the script. But if you're in the middle of turning isn't walking, so you can press a direction and you start to turn and then run. So if you do that at the right time, then you can activate the script and run off. And what we refer to that there is that turning isn't walking. So when you're in the middle of turning and you activate a script, sometimes you can break the game in certain ways. So the plot of this game is that we're going to be defeating the 4 elementals that are attacking the city of Shapir. And, well, that was the fire elemental. It's all gone now.
Where'd you learn to do that anyway? Surely somewhere that you'd have to go for 100%.
Nah, there's only so much stuff that we have to do for 100%, and I just realized that I'm 6 points short, and the reason for that is because I forgot to ask the apothecary about some things. So remind me to talk to him about that on day 13.
Glad Hark, you got it.
Yeah, at the top of the screen, you see 77 of 500. 100% is defined as beating the game with all 500 points. And it's very easy to forget some one-off innocuous task that you're supposed to do for that. Especially since the point lists change with each class. You hit 500 in different ways depending on whether you're a thief, a magic user, or a fighter. In particular, a thief is going to have to do some side quests here that involve identifying himself as a thief to the money changer and then actually breaking into a couple of houses and robbing them. Like, for example, the weapon shop right here. So we just go here, oil the anvil. You only need 60 strength to push the anvil if you oil it. If you don't oil it, then you need 120 strength. But you get points for robbing there. And then also it's night 10, so let's go ahead and deal with the air elemental. He's going that way.
Yeah, so the elementals are time sensitive. That they appear on certain days, and if you don't deal with them in a timely manner, in 100% at least, it will end your game. But there are a couple other essential things you have to do in Shapir that aren't tied to a particular day, and David is going to exploit that to do those events on some pretty curious order.
Yeah, like for example, I explored and found Aziza's house on the map, but I don't have to visit her until later. But one important thing here is that I made the thief sign to the money changer on night 11. I do have to visit her on the following day in order to get a specific thief job, which can only be done at midnight. So let's see. Yep, I'm getting tired. It is past midnight. And then you have to know exactly where to go within the city. The city is pretty difficult to navigate sometimes. Let's see, right here. Whoops, too far. It's all right. I have had a little too much practice. You have to be sneaking when you enter the house, but once you enter it, you can start running again and then just type in all your commands and you're not going to wake up anybody. Yes, there are sleeping people in this house and I am running everywhere, but just because I'm typing in the commands and the scripts are engaging, nothing's being interrupted. Pick lock, seek check.
So churning isn't walking, but sneaking is running. Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Okay. That should be most of the thiefy stuff required for Shapir. The Earth Elemental does have different class-based solutions for how to deal with it, because you're going to have to do some sort of fire against it. And the thieves...
I think you're covering all the essential asks here, right? A fire, earth, elemental.
Yeah.
You're good. Okay.
Yeah, and the thief's intended method is to get some powder of burning from the apothecary and then throw it at the elemental. Oh good, got the encounter rate. It is possible to use the flame dart spell against it since I do know the spell, but my flame dart skill is so weak that it's just not worth doing.
We can just one-shot him like that with the fire dust.
Yeah. For similar reasons, the fighter is only going to bother using a flaming sword rather than the flame dart spell. But once you do have the Earth Elemental secured, you can go ahead and start taking care of some of these desert quests. Like Julinar right here. Give her some water mud. Tell about I, tell about it. Important here is that Julinar is a safe place to rest once you've restored her spirit. So it's... Day 13 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's night 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll go ahead and get the Griffin Feather while I'm here, it's just so I don't have to come out and get it later. But night 15 is the last opportunity to deal with the water elemental, so I do have to come back to the city now and actually deal with it. My point total looks good right now. And yeah, the water elemental is easy to deal with. You just blow it into the water skin, and then you don't even have to bother to pick up the water skin, because that's not worth points. But I'm going to do something a little unusual here, which is to actually sleep until night 16, which is unusual because there are a couple of required things that I have to do during the day, during day 16, that I haven't done yet. There's going to be shenanigans around that later, but for now, I'm going to map around the city because I'm supposed to visit Aziza once on day 16, but also once on another day. So I come here toward the end of day 16 and do this escape trick so that time passes until it's now day 17. So I get the points for the day 16 cutscene, but now I'm no longer doing the day 16 cutscene. Oh. I was rude to her, but good thing I'm not looking to be a paladin.
You're just in character for the thief, I guess.
Yeah. And
what did you do? You didn't thank her for tea or something?
Yeah. So we're going to Vizier now, and one of the big parts about Quest for Glory 2 is that when you get to Vizier, you get there on mid-afternoon of day 27, but you can't actually progress the plot until you go to sleep to day 28. Your room doesn't open up until night, and there's no way to pass time more quickly normally. So normally you end up spending a few minutes there waiting for time to pass. But we've got some fun stuff we're going to be doing to deal with that. I'm going to talk about the desert screen just a little bit. The entirety of the desert is all actually just one room in SCI, but it's using a variable to mark your location in the desert, and Razier's location is 8700. So there's a little trick I'm going to be doing in the desert when I get to it, but first I'm going to get a drink to be put down here. For some reason this drink is a global variable, so that drink will still be there when I come back. There's a required thief subquest in Razier that I'm going to have to do. I got to count screens now, so Lemming?
Yeah, so he talked about this a little bit earlier, but the desert is essentially what I think SCI, the engine for these Sierra point-and-click adventure games, refers to as a pseudo room. So basically all one desert screen, but as David pointed out, it does track which particular screen you're on. Thanks to some code diving from other runners in the QFG speedrunning community, we know that particular rooms throughout the game are actually on top going north of some of these desert screens. Normally not really a big deal, right? I mean, how could you get through the rocks? Well, as you may recall, churning isn't walking, and it does some screwy stuff with the game where we can actually clip out through the rocks and end up north of a screen we shouldn't be able to be north to. Depending on which of these desert screens we happen to be on, which David counted down to a T, we can warp right back to the Dead Parrot Inn, which I'm pretty sure you got kicked out of, right? Like they weren't going to let you back in.
I got out, but the cutscene of the drink being put down happened again, so I was able to drink the drink twice, which means it's now night on day 27. But I've done this in this very specific way because the thief side quest only advances if you go to your bedroom from this room, which means that I can't just wrong warp to the bedroom. I have to actually pass time until night. So that's some really weird stuff that I've done there. I managed to drink the drink twice to pass 6 hours. For this quick cutscene, the main thing I'm going to note is that when you go down a screen, normally there's a script of guards walking off the screen, but if you press escape at the right time and then go down, that script doesn't engage, which means you don't have to wait 4 seconds for the script to disappear. I do have to go ahead and do this cutscene where I give Zaisha my clothes and my visa, and normally that would trap me in the city. Here, let me set the arcade difficulty up. Except that with the right set of move... Uh-oh, wrong way. But if you click right here and then press diagonal down left, you can slip right past the guards and get out of the city again. Now, I've set the difficulty to hardest in order to get the fastest encounter rate in the desert, because now I'm going to go 25 screens to the right. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's bad luck.
Oof. Come on, Scorpy.
Yeah, I do want a monster encounter, but I want it to come from the left, not the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's... here.
Oh.
Yeah, this is taking a bit, so give me a moment to concentrate. Nothing like marathon luck, right?
Well, especially for these desert skips. Like even David's doing 100%, which means you're talking about a lot of different of these wrong warps where you have to count out all these different... Jeez. All these different particular room numbers. So you're counting, X number of screens and then doing kind of a convoluted exploitation of the train isn't walking. That's kind of hard to get into here. I mean, even if you're running the true any percent, which is I think down to like 2.5 minutes or something, that's just one screen count warping to the end credits. And even then, those runners are just hoping that RNG is not going
Here
to
we
kill
go.
their run in the form of wrong direction encounters and things of that nature.
All right, I do have to wait for a monster encounter now, and it's looking like I'm getting the maximum weight at the moment. Yeah, I need
hurt
a
your
monster
feeling.
to be chasing me specifically because I'm going to be wrong warping into the Eternal Order of Fighters. The second part, the initiation. There we go. Safety save here. Do this. I want a monster to be chasing me so that the global variable for monster health is non-zero, which is going to initialize Waleed's stamina to non-zero. Nope, the monster wasn't chasing me. Let's try that again. Come on.
This used to be so much easier just set up before warps.
Wow. I never have this much difficulty with this. It's too far to the left.
It's kind of funny that the monsters can still
There it
chase
is.
you like
That
through the
should...
screen.
No! Okay, that should do it. That should do it. That should do it. Yeah. If you do this right, he
Yay!
falls over immediately. And you do need to win this fight in order to do this, because winning that fight is going to set time to mid-morning on day 16, which gets us back to Shapir. Wow, that took quite a while to do.
Glass Waleed as a tech is just so fantastic, and I love that it's viable for most categories.
Anyways, that's
That
going...
guy's pretty beefy normally, right? He's like a...
Oh, yeah, he's very tough normally. And... Excuse me? Okay, all right. This might softlock the game, actually. Which I really...
Man, that trapeze artist is really talented.
Here, let me just reset the screen just to be sure. I don't want to take chances here.
So this may become obvious to those viewing, but all the stuff that he forgot to do in Shapir, he didn't actually forget. He's just going to take care of that while we've warped into Shapir, and then we'll pop back in the rest to continue the game as normal.
Oh, that's what I did wrong. I didn't set the arcade difficulty to easiest.
Oh, it's still cranked up. Gotta do it.
Except, I managed it anyways.
And 5 whole dinars.
Oh, right. I forgot to buy my source earlier, so I'll go ahead and do that now. And the reason I'm doing it now is because so I don't have to get him out of the stable later, because I'm going to ride him now. In fact, out into the desert. There were a couple of things that I haven't done in the desert yet. In particular, on day 12 or later, a beast appears in a cage in the desert, and there's a whole side quest to deal with that. But first things first, the oasis is a safe place to nap. And this is important because I want to be outside the city of Shapir, because if it's day 17 or later, when you go to the gate, then the caravan cutscene automatically happens. So I'm sleeping until day 28. And the beast is still going to be alive then. Let's go ahead and feed him. I think I forgot to get the Dispel Potion.
Yes. Yeah. Is there a way to warp into hard screen here?
Yeah, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead and go back here, and I've shown what the correct solution looks like, so I'll just cheat.
Yay! Yeah, I'm not sure the context behind it, but if you type in suck blue frog, that opens the console command, essentially. Lets you do some shenanigans as needed. It actually used to be something commonly used for marathons in this category, because back when we used to have to just wait in Rasier, that was very unpleasant in a public setting. And even as we discovered more tech for that run, it was all still pretty tedious. They used to advance time very slowly by basically changing screens at the exact right time, which was technically very impressive, but was also a real slog.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm cheating this run just because I've had too many things go wrong already, and I need to get it back on track. But imagine what the run would have looked like without it. Just do that.
So you still use the swords even before talking to Hark to get the dispel, or did I miss that already?
I did talk to Harik, and I got the dispel potion.
And as convoluted as these warps are, it also means that we can skip that wait period in Rasier. I don't know if we actually called it out, but you can't actually advance time the way you can at Shapir when you're in Rasier. You just have to sit around and wait for afternoon to turn into evening, which takes a lot of actual minutes. I think the intention from the developers was to kind of let you soak in the bleakness of that particular town, but for a speed run, you really feel just having to sit around to advance the game, and we can just dodge that by waiting elsewhere.
Yeah, important thing is after day 16, the Saurus Go Home command gets you back to Rasier, but unfortunately I can't get back in since I've already given away my visa, so I'm going to have to go 90 screens to the west.
Anything's possible with wrong warps. It does bring me a lot of joy to see this particular tech really utilized in a 100% run, where oftentimes when you look at a 100% category for any, these ghouls, man.
Wow.
Pesky little buggers.
This is some of the worst marathon luck I've had. Things never
It's that kind of afternoon. Yeah, unfortunately, the enemies also, if they see Hero defying the laws of physics, they'll say fine, and they'll do it as well and chase you into the airspace. But it was pretty cool to see this run go beyond, basically doing 100% walkthrough really, really, really fast, which is really cool on its own, but this just kind of adds a new layer of fascination that you're now doing everything quote unquote correctly, but in such an unexpected and nonsensical order. It's a real treat.
I think that's it. Hold on a sec. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go ahead and safety save just in case. Wait the maximum amount. This should get us straight to Razier's fountain, which is at night, so I'll just go ahead and use the rope and ignore this guard there who's like, hey, you, stop. Getting us to Kavin's room, which since my stealth is minimum, I'm likely to fail every single stealth check here, and there's 4 stealth checks on the way to the Blackbird. And so far, that's 3 failed. Normally, the 4th one would be death, except you can hide very quickly to survive it. But the 5th one would be death no matter what, if not for a little trick that I'm going to do, which is I'm going to get the Black Falcon, and then I'm going to drop it. The 5th check only happens when you're carrying the Falcon. You go over here, cast the Calm spell, get the Falcon back, and that allows you to escape without any problems with the stealth checks. So I failed every single one of them, but it didn't matter.
That's a pretty short.
I forgot to make the thief sign to him.
No.
All right, we're cheating again.
Forgot to tell him that you're in the club. It's kind of funny though. You show up with this Blackbird he's wanted for so long, but he's just not going to bother if you don't show off your union credentials first.
It is tremendously easy to forget one minor thing to make your run go well.
No, this is classic 100% running.
Yeah. I apologize for all this cheating. Those responsible have been sacked. But yeah, yes.
Believe it or not, this is one of the better ones. There are games in this series that are totally arbitrary in what counts for points, and trying to remember all that stuff. I don't know how you do it, David.
Usually with a lot of luck, I guess. Marathon performances make it a lot easier to forget some stuff.
Well, you've been in prison for your cheating crimes, but that's not going to stop you, is it?
Nope. I'm just going to do a quick spell slide out here, fetch my stuff, to skip a couple of text boxes. Oh, you know what? The debug code is still on. Okay, let's get rid of that. There we go. Alright, so we are going to be going to the Forbidden City where we're supposed to get the statue of Iblis. And the very first room is going to be in Great Darkness, and you're supposed to use your lamp to light the way, and they disable keyboard movement to make sure that you don't go anywhere, except they forgot to disable mouse movement. So if you come in here and then you just click right up here, whoops, you're going to end up on this other screen, which allows you to cast the open spell on here to get the points for sealing the wind. And then there's going to be a lava room, but as turning isn't walking is going to show, the lava is floor. You can just go right over it.
That room is such a pain in the butt to navigate, like without that tech. It was just delightful when that was discovered.
All right, the point total looks good now, despite the cheating. I'm sorry, I've forgotten some stuff. I mean, at least if nothing else, I can get things back on track. All right, so there's a little ring here that you can use to get out of the cave. You can also wish for better stats, but we don't need to do that. Our stats are good enough for this end game. Speaking of which, there's going to be a few seconds before this script disengages and I can actually leave the screen. I started the game with 5 daggers since I'm a thief, so I'm actually going to drop 3 of them. So I go into the end game with only 2 daggers. That's going to be important later, but I pre-type use rope. I guess I wasn't on the right pixel there. We're going to go ahead and get up here, and actually this harem cutscene, the game is only checking to make sure that you actually have the rope before it does this cutscene. It's normally only canon to the thief, but future games treat it as canon for all characters. Weirdly enough, the previous screen doesn't check that you actually have the rope before you use the rope.
Yeah, very helpful for some of the earlier iterations of any percent before that category got totally destroyed.
Yeah. So we're gonna.
A lot of these games, when you reach the ending, actually, go ahead, David. There's a bunch of stuff about to happen.
Yeah, this is the end game, and I only have 2 daggers going into this, and I'm going to have to use one of them to dislodge the candle here. I'll go ahead and do a safety save here. Toss 1 dagger, and if you've done your counting right, you'll realize that I only have 1 dagger left. Now, in normal gameplay, you throw a dagger at him and it knocks him back once, but you have to hit him with a second dagger in order to finish him off. But I only have 1 dagger, and the reason for that is because the game code is actually checking the number of projectiles you have to make sure that you don't use up your last one and have nothing left. So since this is my last dagger, I'm going to throw it at him, and it's going to knock him over instantly, and that's time. Yes, it says 480 of 500 at the top, but you get an additional 20 points for the ending cutscene, so that is a valid 100% run. Well, barring the cheating.
Totally valid.
Totally valid, yes.
It is nice with these games, and we exploit this a lot. A lot of times the developers, as you hit the end game, some of it's probably intentional, some of it's probably not. Like, there are situations where if you actually didn't prepare properly, they'll still give you a chance to win one way or another. Hence, being able to use a rope you don't have, or just guaranteeing that last dagger is always going to hit for you.
Anyways, thanks so much for joining me on commentary, Lemming. This is not an easy game to run. There's so much going on. It's so much to keep track of, and so much that it's easy to miss.
I would go out on a limb and say this is probably the hardest QFG game out there from the speedrun perspective.
I don't know. Quest for Glory 5 is pretty intimidating right now.
It's getting there. It's getting there. Anyway, as far as these people in court are concerned, that was a valid hundo run.
Sure. Well, anyways, that's going to be it for me. And so I want to thank you, RGLTV, so much for having me on once again. I will see you all later.